What's up, guys? How y'all doing today? Welcome to the Black Gay Perspective Live Show. What's up, Dante? Richard, how y'all doing?
Doing good, feeling good.
How you doing, Richard? We can't hear you. Hold on.
Oh,
Oh, there you go. How you doing, Richard?
I'm doing good. I'm excited since I missed last week. I'm trying to see you with our first live show. The live is given.
Yeah, it was an interesting topics and stuff like that. What's up, Miss Tia? We got Tia joining us as well. What's up, Miss Tia? How you doing? Don't know what happened to her. Dante, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I'm not sure what happened to my camera.
Child, not the camera went out.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's showing black. Did it switch over?
I
Turn
have
around.
no idea.
Technology doing too much.
Oh,
Okay,
there we
there we
go.
go.
That's
Okay.
weird.
Okay. Oh, here go Tia. Let me add her back in. What's up, Miss Tia? Can you hear me?
Hello, y'all.
How you doing, honey?
What's up?
All is well. All is
All
well.
is well. We got some interesting topics to get into. We had an interesting show
Hey.
last week. Of course, we had Teddy came through, and of course, it was interesting. We missing Misha tonight. Hopefully, she'll be joining us next week. But in the meantime, we do have Tia that's going to give us the black trans woman perspective. So we're looking forward to hearing her perspective. We have some very interesting topics that we're going to get right into, guys. Are y'all ready to get into that?
Let's jump into it.
Okay, guys. So the first topic that we're going to do is going to be I want to ask you guys a question. They did a Google search questions on sexuality in terms of gender. See, let me mute you for a minute because I hear that background noise. So they did a Google search question sexuality and gender of 1300 percent since 2014 analysts show. So the question, and they also said places like Utah merged as a state with the highest search volume for phrases like "Am I gay?" "Am I lesbian?" and "Am I trans?" since last May, according to report.
Mhm.
Also, um, what was the other state? The other state, well, I think was Oklahoma. Yeah, Oklahoma topped the list of how to come out in terms
Mhm.
of like different things like that. So the question I want to ask you guys, in terms of like being in those type of states like Oklahoma, Utah, in terms of what do you guys think for what do you guys think the experience for like black youth as well as black young adults that is in those states that don't have these type of laws that in states like California or more progressive states like more the progressive state. What do you think is like for those type of the black youth as well as the young black adults that have to do you Google search on how to come out and different things like that? Do you think that they need to have more conclusion in those states where they're not just on Google searching at, where they can have those type of conversation? Do you think it need to be like on a state level or local level, or how do you guys feel about that?
Mhm.
I don't. I wonder what's the percentage of Black people in the state of Utah. That's number one. Number two, hopefully they are looking up something that's more substantial. I think when it comes to like how to be an entrepreneur, credit, buying a house, more things that's a little bit, I would say, important if you were to ask me. But that's just my opinion. And I th- if you're gay, if you like another man, you're gay. If you
Right,
like
but
a
but
man
what I'm saying is that
and a woman, you
don't
are
you think
bisexual.
what
Um,
what I'm
Lesbian.
saying
If you like
though,
another
like
woman, you're lesbian. It's
can you
kind of
guys
that
hear me?
simple.
But this the thing about what I'm I guess what I'm also saying too, like cities like Atlanta, they don't really have to search that because you have the city, you have
Ability. Yeah.
laws in place to support you in that way. So
Mhm.
9 out of 10 when Oklahoma or Utah have these places where they doing that Google search, right? They're usually don't have support around a support system in terms of on a local level as well as on a federal level as well as on a state level where they can get those type of things. But what I'm simply saying is, don't you think they should have more resources in those places for Black queer?
Yeah, I think they definitely should. I think, like Dante said, like those are conservative states, right? Already. So and then imagine there's a low percentage of black people in those states. So then that means there's even less black, people who are trying to discover their identity, like openly doing so. So I think that it's probably a very scary space for Black gay people in those spaces. And I think the reason why they're researching these things is because they live in conservative states where you said, like, where being gay is not normalized, but it's also almost criminalized. Like, it's almost still
Mhm.
looked at as criminal to be gay and trans and all that type of stuff. So I can imagine what they may be going through and asking that question. Like, yeah, I think people know what gay is and bisexual is and what those identities are when they see it because they heard somebody give a definition to it. But I think they're
Mhm.
searching it to figure out, is it okay for me to be this way? If I feel this way, what are the feelings I'm going to feel? How's my mind going to, like, do I think a certain way? Do I act a certain way? What does it look like? If I live in a city where I never seen another gay person as a Black gay boy in a little city in Utah, like in a conservative little city in Utah, I'm going to be like, what does that look like? I'm going to
Yeah.
be searching it.
But question though with you, Richard, do you think it should be mandatory on a federal level to have resources in there where people know, like, because it is gay, we like at this point we know gay people exist. You know what I mean? They're
Mm-hmm.
not going anywhere, right? So do you think it should be like a federal law where we have where it's mandatory to have these type of resources for young Black youth coming up or young Black LGBT members and stuff like that, so they can know how to properly move in this world and to know these type of things, so when they get like 20 or 30 and 40, they not
Mm-hmm.
like have a shock value when they go to these big cities.
You already know my answer to that question. Yes, I definitely think that there should be resources available. Those people exist in those cities. Like, Black gay people don't just exist in large like cities like Atlanta. We
Mhm.
exist in
And
small cities
usually
like that.
it's the small, they go from the
Mhm.
come from the small towns
Exactly,
into
to
the
a
big
big city.
cities. Yeah.
Exactly, and then
But
you
I
wonder
want
why
to
when
add
people.
another perspective to that as well. I
Okay.
don't think I don't
Mhm.
think that because I'm from Wichita, Kansas, which is
Okay.
an hour and 40 minutes away from Oklahoma City.
Mm,
Mhm.
Mm.
And when I think that the other part that we're not thinking about is because we've talked about so far everything external, but I think
Okay.
more of those searches are internal.
Okay, what
Like,
do you mean by that?
how do I, when I notice that my mom and dad have a relationship, my
mhm,
best friend, he likes girls, but I'm different. How do I come out to them and
mhm.
say I'm different? What
Okay.
does that look like?
Look like,
Yeah.
okay, I see
When
that.
the church that we all go to says that I'm going to hell,
Mm,
when laws are passed that, you know
yep.
what I'm saying, that
Mhm,
I could be, or not even laws, but just like socially, when someone
Mhm.
finds out that you're gay, what does that look like for me if I'm the best candidate for the job, but if they find out that I like men,
yeah.
I don't even get
Mhm.
a chance because of who I love. Like, what does that look like for me in a
Mhm,
state that is not for me? And then you're a
Mhm.
minority within a minority. And
yep.
so, um, yes, I believe that there should be laws in place. But when you talk about the whole minority within a minority, when I used to be a music director in Denver, Colorado, where Black people are already, I think, 10% in the state.
Mm,
Mhm.
Then you talk about gay and Black, which is, I think, 2%.
mm.
So
Mhm.
hell, the best thing I say for you is move. No, but listen,
For
because
real.
Yeah,
it's so much. I
Yeah.
know
yeah, I get
talented
it, but
older
I
men who
do
have
feel like,
died.
yeah, I do
And
feel
their
like,
living was not in vain, but they died. Them against literally the world because they
Yeah.
were like, I'm here, I'm queer, I'm Black. You know what I'm saying? I want to pave the way, and you look behind you, and ain't nobody fighting but you. Everybody else, they just interested in down low sex, but they ain't into making no laws or making it easier for your gay son or your gay daughter to live in their truth when they come through their generation. They're not interested in that. So it's kind of like a lost cause because you got every direction, even your own community against you, fighting for something that you need help, you need arms in.
mhm.
I agree.
So, but I do feel like the way it's going, I do feel like they're gonna eventually put a lot federal laws in place so that resources and um information is available across the state, the nation. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
when you see yourself or you having these type of feelings, you have a hub here or a place here where you can go get this information. You have a support
Yeah.
system that can
Yeah.
properly guide you, and you know what to do with these feelings and emotion,
Yes.
or how to properly
Mm-hmm.
survive. What do you think, Dante?
I mean, I would love to see the plan. I think what you're saying sounds good. I do
Exactly.
know sometimes when money is put to certain programs, it is wasted.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Well,
just would love to see how, the plan that you speak of, how it would look
But
and
what
how
I'm
it
saying,
can
would you put
actually
the
work
plan in
within
place?
our community, huh?
Would you put that plan in place if you could?
Would I put that? It depends. I would try to bring everybody to the table to see what would be the best outcome. Even
Okay,
people that I would disagree with.
understood.
Yeah.
Final thoughts on that, Richard?
I think that yeah, I do agree. Like there should be a major consideration and deep, like intentional thought about a federal plan that like provides those types of resources. But like when Tia was speaking, it just reminded me like we can put as many laws as we want in those places.
Mm-hmm.
But if in those conservative states where people are not able to live in their truth and those people still feel that in their hearts, it's still going to be more work beyond that. Like we can pour as many resources into those places, but if the people that are in charge, like the fact that people are divided on human existence such a way,
yes.
even if you put a law in place, the people who are upholding those laws in those conservative states are not going to live them out. The people are still going
Mm-hmm.
to feel away. So I think yes, we have to start there, but it's more than just the laws. It's about shifting like communities, shifting
The
mindsets,
yes,
shifting the
Right.
focus.
mindsets.
So it
Yes.
Yeah.
comes with that's the education piece, the educational
Mm-hmm.
piece. You know what I mean? So yeah, I totally agree. Like when I say laws, I think even like in a lot of those progressive state where they also make it mandatory for when people, quote unquote crazy people, we're not just taking them to jail, but we also going to put other programs in place where we're not just putting them behind bars and stuff like that, because we know at the end of the day that's not going to make a difference either. So I do feel like a lot of laws are centered around, of course, taking action, but it also will have a educational component to it as well. To also, how can we prevent this from happening versus, reacting once it happened. You know.
Yeah, I think they
Yes.
educated. I definitely agree with Rashad. That's all I see on the little screen while I'm here driving. But I definitely think that that educational piece is most vital because it, that's vital.
That's
That's
vital.
vital.
Okay. I love it.
That's vital.
Okay, let's get on to the next topic, guys, which is very interesting. I love it. So it's interesting. I understand. I love it. Target quietly removed Pride merchandise in some stores as conservative activists declare victory. So let me give you guys a spiel. So of course, Target did a whole. They was promoting a whole children Pride line. So they would had children clothes, and with the Pride colors, flags involved in it, right? So, um, reports came out within a week. Target lost $9 billion do concerted activists or to boycott the store because I guess they saying, okay, y'all already with the gay stuff, now y'all got children clothes, so y'all trying to get them early. So now Target losing money, it started to affect their bottom line. Now they have quietly moved the Pride stuff to the back of the store. So you had today or yesterday Whoopi Goldberg going out saying, well, of course she was mad about the fact that Target did it, because she's saying people should be able to be themselves. But at the end of the day, money is what money talk. So the fact that you lost $9 billion, that lets you know a lot of people is not for that.
So
You
yeah,
know what I mean?
I
So
really
how
want
do
to
you
start
guys
this
feel
whole.
about are you guys in agreement with Target did, or are you in disagreement as well as why?
I think Target. I'm not gonna say I agree or disagree. I'll say that Target should look at their bottom line and see what is best for business. And if this was a bad move, um, they should think internally. They also need to make sure that they protect their employees as well, so no one is hurt when they're
Hmm.
just trying to go to work and do their job. So those are things that they need to take into consideration. I do think there was a lot of, well, not think, there was some misinformation that did come out about
Hmm.
the swimwear that was I guess, supposed to be put on the shelves. It was mainly for adults, not children. So there's that. I think this whole transgender conversation that we are starting to have now as a society is really just at the forefront. It's a hot topic for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think everybody just need to have a level head with this. But when it comes to Target, they have to do what is best for business. And I don't think it was just conservatives that actually said, well, I'm not going to go at the store. I think it was just a lot of independent people, Green Party people, Democrats.
Do
There
you
were
think
a lot of people.
because it was because it trickled down to the children?
I think I suppose that was maybe the reason.
Mm-hmm.
More than likely, yes.
Yeah, especially to lose $9 billion and $9 billion in a week.
I
I
mean,
definitely
you would think Target would learn from Bud Light, but hey, we'll
right,
see.
right. Well, Target didn't do Bud Light. It just cared. It was Bud Light, but
Uh,
Bud Light said, you know, w- a lot of research have shown that when people have their outrage, it usually be short lived. You know what I mean? So a lot of them didn't feel the Bud Light stuff like that because they I think it's kind of died down. But I do think with
no,
Target,
Bud Light had to buy back some of their products.
because of
Yeah,
because of the
people aren't
lawsuit.
buying. No, yeah, they are not buying Bud Light right now. But we'll see. I do agree that it'll probably maybe by the end of this year or early next year, people start drinking Bud Light again. But I mean, and by the way, we should say that Target has been selling Pride uh clothes for some time. I
For
mean,
like
I'm not sure what the outrage was. I mean, they kind of do this, and not just Target. A lot of stores do it every every year during
Every
this
year
time,
around,
and they
yeah,
really
Pride
do it
time.
just to show. I don't think these stores are really just for gay people. They just kind of, oh, let me put a rainbow flag on something so gay people can come to my store and
Yeah,
buy
of course,
something.
it's a money thing at this
It
point.
is.
It's
It's
not
just
even
a money
about
thing.
your rights and especially black gay people. That it's all about corporate dollars and all of that. So anytime I see those people involved in it, it's never about the intention of what black gay people want or the heart of black gay people. Richard, what you feel about this?
I mean, yeah, it's just a headache. Like it's a national conversation. Like it's I think it's as simple as everyone's talking about LGBT issues. All the bills, regardless of whether you believe it true or not, there's like more than 480 anti-LGBT bills on like in history right now. So amidst all of that, having Target do like, of course, lobbyists and politicians, they're in business, so like that's happening in the background. Target's put into place where I don't blame them, but this is the opportunity for them to show whether they are truly for LGBT rights or not, or is it really
Right.
just about business? Now, I get the conversation you have to have with yourself business wise, but this is the opportunity to show with your money, putting your money where your mouth is, if you really are about that life
Right,
for
right. But at
LGBT
the end of
life,
the day, business is
or is it
business.
just about business? That this is your
Yeah.
opportunity to show that, and if
It's
it is
about
not,
business.
it's going to be
All business
clear.
is about business. But I do think it was more so that Target was actually, I think there was Target line. Like it was one thing when they celebrate Pride, but I think Target
Yeah.
was having clothes year round for that. So it wasn't like Pride month. And I think some of the people can understand, okay, Pride month, but I think Target was doing it year round. Therefore, it's kind of like the outrage
But they're
kind of
known
comes
for
in.
celebrating Pride for like at least the last 10 years or so. So like for
Yeah,
me, it is amazing. It's like they've been doing that for the last 10 years, and like I'm
and I feel
also
like
tired of
longer, to
the
be honest
conversation
with
of
you.
like we're protecting the kids. Like so now the kids can't be a part of the Pride celebration. Like we get to celebrate 4th of July, we get to celebrate other holidays that themes and that's theme. Regardless of whether you're gay or not, like Pride is a holiday. It's a holiday month. It's just like the 4th of July. It's just like Christmas. I don't think that it's like saying everyone let's be gay. Like that's not what we're celebrating. That's not
So what
the
exactly? What exactly is Pride celebration
And
about?
this, go ahead,
it's a
Richard.
celebration of for everyone to about being one. Yes, it's rooted in LGBT, right? Because we are fighting for our human rights. So we
Mm.
celebrate that as LGBT. But pride is about being authentically and true in who you are, period. That's pride. That's celebrating everyone. But we center it around sexuality and gender and da 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 da. But pride literally is about fighting for the rights of people to be exactly
So
who
you
they
talking
want to
about
be and being
Pride,
proud
like
of.
the Pride that come up in like?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Yes, I
I
mean
thought
we
it was just,
talk about the sentiment, but if we think about what the movement actually is about, is we the only reason why we're not fighting for straight people because their rights are not being taken away. We're fighting for everyone else that's not straight. LGBT, everyone that's not
So
straight.
would you? I'm assuming you would think it would be you would be kind of opposed if it was like a straight people pride because a
I
lot of
won't
people.
be I would not be opposed to that, but because I don't
Wait,
agree that.
they've had a straight people pride. Y'all know what it was called? It was called Freaknik. Y'all don't
Uh
like
huh.
me. Y'all don't like
Uh-huh.
me. Y'all
Yeah,
don't like this type of
Wait,
teaching. Ththey've had a
it's
Freaknik
fact.
pride.
But that's not straight people
I
pride.
mean,
What would it
That's
That
be then?
is
Then what would it be?
that's black
okay.
people being like having a good time and getting their rocks off.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
what would that actually look like though? Like, but I'm think
Right,
pride.
but what I'm saying is,
Like, there are
I
straight
say
people.
that because a lot of people say Black Lives Matter, but then they feel like when people say All Lives Matter, they get offended by that because they say, well,
Well,
um,
the truth offends you.
It does. Like, but
right.
we're
So
not
that's
talking
what I'm
about you.
saying though. Like sometimes people that just for gay pride or Black Lives Matter, they use it not for stuff like straight pride, or they use it not for All Lives Matter. So that's why I was just asking the question.
Yeah,
I
but
will assume that you're not for straight pride. That was that
do we
question.
I'm
as
sorry.
black
But
people?
what
Do
I'm
we?
saying is that's just like rappers. Do you know that they believe this? This is why, um, not to segue somewhere else, but I'm saying to support what we're talking about. It's salt. Is it salt? Now y'all know Mother's Churchy. The Saucy Santana. Is it? Is
Hmm.
that it? Is that his name?
That's his name. Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm so proud of him. And the
Hmm.
reason why I'm so proud of him is because he is breaking in a culture that never was supposed to be for him.
Hmm.
Now, on the
Hmm.
flip
Okay.
side of the
That's
coin,
empowering.
you have rappers who can rap about beating a woman,
Hmm.
screwing hoes, selling
Hmm.
dope. But when you talk about same gender loving, oh, you ain't no true rapper. This that ain't what the rap game is
Right, I agree. It is a
about.
double standard. It's a double standard. I
So
agree. I agree. But
it's a
So
for
I
some
double
think
people, they are
standard.
just no.
Now
But
I
for
wanted to go bike and straight saying Floyd. I wanted to bike to Target. Now I think the reason why this is not big they talk in the black community because you know most black people I don't, but most black people are more from that Walmart was the scandal. It was
you
kind
breaking up really bad, Tia.
of
You breaking up really bad.
okay.
Hold on one
But
minute. Hold on. Get your sound back together. So ultimately, what I'm saying is like I'm not sure like in terms of like the language for that in terms of like straight people pride because you I don't know if y'all are y'all familiar Dante, are you familiar with Jesse Peterson?
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think he got something like the straight people pride or it like he part of that or he participated into that stuff like that as well.
I think
So,
I
mhm.
think it's fine to have your own pride. Like but pride is not in my mind. Like pride is not making them exempt, right? It's just centering the voices of the people who have been silent, which are LGBT people, gay people.
ooh,
Pride is about being who you are. Like I will at Pride, I don't mind. I know many straight people that celebrate me pride with me, and they're
I
not
didn't
like,
know,
oh,
but
I
I'm
want
saying I
pride like
didn't know
this.
that. I honestly didn't
Yeah,
know
they
that.
celebrate
and
pride
that
with me.
is true. They do.
That
That
I
is true.
celebrate pride with a lot of straight people, like a whole bunch, and it's like no one's telling you not to be prideful or that you need to have your own celebration. But like the world is straight. Like we are fighting against straight norms. We got hetero.
Yes.
Like the world is y'all stage. Y'all have pride every day through our music, through our culture, through everything we talk about is straight. It's centered around straightness. Y'all pride is that. We're trying to have our own celebration, and why can't everyone engage in that celebration, including our children who are going to grow up and be a part of that community?
But let me ask you this though. Let's get down to this though. Let's say because you say straight people pride and because my mind just went to let's say let's say that everybody remain gay and you only attract to opposite sex, who gonna procreate? So I think what I'm trying to say is this. I think if we
Huh?
take out the straight word and the gay word, I
The
think we
pansexuals will.
Will.
no, I think it's all our job and responsibility to do that. I think
Yeah.
we like because you have these people that's so gay now that if a woman disgusts me, but having sex is not about being attracted to that person. It's really about procreation. So I think if we go back to the really what sex was created for and the topic of what it is, it's really about procreation. Who you love and who affection will have nothing to do with procreation.
But
I
that's
agree.
also not what pride is about. And I feel like more than the people
Well,
like us
pride
who are
is for,
fighting
for
for
pride is
pride.
for gay adults. I just have to know. I mean, why do we as gay people or some gay people feel that we need to be affirmed by putting flags on children's clothing? Because
But
that's really the issue.
Dante, let me ask you this question: if you're gay, you want to celebrate Pride with your children in an appropriate way?
In an appropriate way, yes.
What's an appropriate way? I'm confused. I'm like,
Like, I don't think he'll take them to like the outings and stuff, right? Like
I,
the
I would not take my son or daughter to a pride event. The ones that I've seen in San Francisco, I don't think that's any place that a child should go. Not where you have men walking around with a dog mask on, and a jock strap. I don't think there are certain things that children should go to. Now, if there was a house music event like it was last week in Piedmont Park, where it was kind
Mhm.
of family friendly, that's something totally different. That wasn't pride gear, but there was a lot of gay people there. It kind of felt like it was pride. So
mm-hmm.
it really depends on the crowd, what's going on. I know there are certain things that I would not send my son or daughter to no Freaknik. They will not come to Freaknik with me. I will go to Freaknik with my partner only because
Mhm.
that's something for adults.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now we have there's so many different layers to this conversation. We have kids raising kids,
Mhm.
parents who want to be their best friends with their children. And I'm
Mhm.
just so sorry. Like, there's different layers to this conversation, but just to focus on the topic that we're talking about, I don't need my rainbow flag on a child or a baby. That's just
But
me. I don't need to be affirmed by that.
So you
That's
kind
just
of feel
me.
like it's inappropriate to have that on a baby, a child
I
when they
don't
first
know why
born.
sexual orientation needs to be on a child.
Yeah, and that's a fair point in this regard. Let's say that your child might not even grow up to be gay. Then what you done? You misrepresent your child, right? I'm that's just a question.
Or what if your child don't even want to wear it and you're making your child wear it? It could be that. My mom used to
Well, a
make my twin
child,
brother and
well,
I dress up all the time.
well, I'm
I
gonna
didn't say,
tell
hey,
y'all. I know y'all modern now, but in my house, you didn't have too much of coming up. You didn't have too much of a choice on what
I
you was
agree,
gonna wear and
but
what you
still
wasn't gonna
though,
wear.
but
right.
But I don't think that
would you
putting a
put rainbow
rainbow
clothes
on
on your
them.
child?
I would, I
Okay.
would. Now I would not, per se.
Oh, Tia, go.
I think she probably dropped her battery.
um,
So back to you, Dante. You do feel like it kind of it's inappropriate for like when your child first born. Let's say that you and your husband been in a relationship for 5 years, and at the fifth, 6th year, y'all decide to have a child. You don't think that your child, because y'all have been in the same sex relationship, you won't go out and get your child baby pride pampers, pride bills, and stuff like that.
No, no, I would
Okay.
not be doing that. I would not. I would go out and get Pampers. I would not be thinking I need to go out and get Pampers with the rainbow flag on. I would not be thinking I need to go out and get rainbow socks. I would just be thinking I need to go get socks.
Right, but what I say that I say that because like I built the case up to say like y'all are in a
a relationship.
yeah, gay relationship though. Y'all been in a six
It's a family. It's a
yeah, it's
LGBT.
a family. So you know what I mean? That don't make you don't get that.
I'm following you, but I still wouldn't be trying to rush to no store to buy something rainbow. I no. I mean, I would get something that I think my son or daughter would look good in.
Okay,
Rainbow would not be the first thing that comes to my mind, because
so
that's
would
a
you be
sexual
opposed to it? I
orientation.
guess I
That's
was
a
asking more
sexual
so. Would you
orientation.
be?
That's, I mean, I look at gay different from what other people look at it. I mean,
Mhm.
being gay to me is being attracted to another man. There's
Man,
nothing that separates
that's what
myself
it is.
from a
That's the
heterosexual man
pride.
besides who I decide to lay down with in the
That's
bedroom. That is
But
it.
that's the definition of what gay is. You said it's just being attracted to same sex. It have nothing to do with the extra stuff we do, to be honest. Like based upon definition.
Yeah.
Richard, any feedback?
That's the whole fight. I think that's the mentality that a lot of people have in their argument against like children wearing the pride flag. Like, and that's okay if you feel the way, but also understand that if someone else feels the way when it's not just about sexuality for them, it's about existence and pride and family and unity and community. That's what that symbol represents. We exist
Mhm.
in society where those two people exist, and we got to find a better way to do that without condemning people for wanting to put a flag on their children. Like if I want to put a flag on my son or daughter, it's not
But
because
what if your son don't grow up to be
it's
gay?
not going to be gay, or that's not what I'm equating the pride movement
So,
to be about.
okay, I apologize, you all. I'm gonna
No,
get it
no,
together.
you
Praise the
good,
Lord.
you
I'm
good.
just coming in.
So
I don't
go back to
Um,
about sex.
Richard. Finish out your point, then we'll get to
yeah,
T.
I think we got to take pride from the idea and the foundation and the
the
soul of
stigma.
pride is about more than just sexuality, and that's the message that's getting lost in translation. That's why the argument is being had, because pride is not just about sexuality. It's not just about I'm a gay man who sleeps with men. It's a fight. It's a history. It's a
Right,
fight for rights. It's a fight to be who I am. It's a celebration of the space to do that, regardless if
right.
you're gay, straight, or indifferent. So that's why the argument is being had, because people believe that we're putting children to be gay. We're teaching, oh, be gay, be trans, be this. That's not the message that's being given by saying we're celebrating the idea that these people exist, that this community exists as a community. We're celebrating it. We're not saying you're gay. This it's not just about sexuality.
So what is
That's in the arguments.
so
What people
why do I don't know? I really have to do more research because I really thought Pride was about gay. It wasn't like the Pride that we
but
celebrate in America is about
I
being.
on the surface, that's what you see it as. But when you look into the history and the work that people had to do, when we talk about the civil rights movement, it's more than just about we're fighting for racial rights. We're fighting for people to exist, people who are fighting oppression, people who are building community, people
But
who
you
create
wouldn't
space.
equate black rights to LGBT rights, would you?
For me,
No,
Would,
I
because
would
I'm
not.
would.
black and gay at the same time. You know I would. So for me, pride is more than just me being gay. It's about me being a black man who's gay as well. Like all of those things at one time is celebrating the pride of who I am, the history
Mm-hmm.
that comes with.
And I hate to say this, and I say it respectfully. That's why Black people rights always get pushed at the back of the line, because we put
Right.
other rights always before us.
For
And when we
black
talk about
rights.
gay rights, as I said before, we're not talking about Black gay rights. We talk about white gay rights when we
Well,
say gay rights.
when
Yes,
I'm
Mhm.
talking about
yes.
it, I'm talking about black gay because I'm a black gay man who cannot talk from that angle as a
Okay.
gay. So I have to talk about black rights, gay rights from a black perspective. Like I'm talking about when I'm at the table talking about those things, I am black and gay, so I can't not talk about them. So yes, I'm not putting the issue
But I
first.
guess Dante speaking to
All
the
my issues.
institutional stuff, like the stuff that's institutionalized in like America, the fabric of America is white gay rights and stuff. Like you know what I mean? So it's all of it is just like it's just I
But
don't.
can I say this? I don't
Mhm.
believe they're putting a rainbow on your flag, on a rainbow on your child's shirt is any different than when you go on Facebook and you see these gorgeous little babies with lashes,
I
or
agree. I do agree with that.
those little cute pictures
I
where
agree
they
with
got the
that.
little baby in a crop
Crop
top
top,
shirt
yeah, yeah. I agree
and
with that.
little
I agree
Daisy
with that.
Dukes, or you see little young boys
Mhm.
dressed like Kevin Gates with saggy pants and
Mhm.
cute little boxer briefs
I
and no
agree.
shirt on.
I
Yep.
Some
agree.
of those
I don't
boxer briefs
believe
are
I
it's
think
not.
it's
no
all
different. You're
I think
not
it's
saying
all
that your daughter
inappropriate
is
for
going
a
to be a
child though.
hoochie. You're not saying that your son is going to be a thug.
No, I'm saying that,
So
but I
I
do
don't
agree.
think
I
that
think
we
it's
as
all
LGBT
inappropriate.
should take a lower, I mean, a different seat. If y'all see what I'm saying, like I believe that if I put a rainbow on my child, I'm not saying that I want my child to be
So,
rainbow.
what are you saying when you do it? What's your message of when you put it on your child?
Hell, maybe your daddy was working and I was busy with church, and that's the only shirt I have for you to wear to school. Praise God. I ain't saying nothing. I'm just
Right.
saying, you get
Okay.
what I'm saying?
I get what
I'm
you're
not
saying.
saying
I get what you're
anything.
saying. I get what you're saying. Like
Like that's
you
just
saying
what I
if
bought
it's
my
there,
child.
you saying if it's there, it's just there. I'm not gonna go
Right.
out
That's
my
a part
way
of their wardrobe.
wardrobe.
Yeah.
I can agree with that, but
Now I'm not a I ain't even a rainbows type of gal.
no, but
So
I'm speaking to the people that
it's a little
intentionally
too
go
gay
out
for
their
my
way
taste.
to make sure their child have on rainbow clothes. That is what I'm speaking to.
Yeah, but
But
People
I never got to that with them moving the whole thing to the bike.
to the back, yeah.
Um um Once again, I kind of whoever said that about I don't whoever said that about I think that that affects more of the white LGBT people and not the black.
Okay.
I don't see a lot of black people other than car decals or keychains. I don't see a lot of African American people sporting a flag, or even flags over your back balcony. If you go over there to Midtown and down there on Moreland where it goes in the ponds,
Well,
you
excuse
know,
my
you'll
ignorance on the
see.
gay flag, but hasn't it just recently changed? Because now
Oh
I
No,
see the
Lord,
black stripe in there as well. I mean, I was
no, that's
confused.
that black. That's the black gay flag. There's a black gay.
See, I
see,
don't.
Mm.
it's too many things for
It's
me.
too many. I mean, next year it
I'm
will have a
old
different color
school.
too. It's hard to keep up with all this.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to the other. This is a very interesting topic, guys, right here. This one we're going to get into is very interesting. I got different feelings about this one. So with this one, it says a transgender girl misses her high school graduation after Mississippi judge denied emergency plea to permit her to go in a dress and heel graduation after Mississippi judge denied emergency plea, which is the same thing. But I want to go more into that if I could, because there's some very valid points that I think we
Oh
should get
Lord.
into.
Okay.
Give me 1 minute, guys.
I
So
didn't.
Dante, actually, I want to get your take on it first because I know you sent that to me. You did your research on it. So can you break that down a little bit more?
So
If
I've kind of mixed feelings about this one.
mm-hmm,
One LP, that's the plaintiff, the transgender person. So we don't know her name. That's what LP has been calling herself. So I'm confused. The school allowed her to basically dress as a transgender. It seems from ninth all the way to being to 12th grade.
mm-hmm,
Went to prom in a dress,
mm-hmm.
but for some strange reason, when it came to graduation, there was a
Yeah.
different conversation.
Yeah, no.
Now, having said that, LP and the mother also signed a ceremony agreement back in March.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was looking for the ceremony agreement to see what they signed, what was the details in there, but clearly, whatever they signed, that's why the judge ruled in favor of LP, the transgender person, had to dress as a
As
boy.
a boy. So yeah, if she signed it, then obviously she signed her rights over, or she
Also,
agreed.
I want to say graduation, high school graduation, it is very, it's important for everybody to make that milestone because some people do not.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also voluntary. Like there are some people who don't want to wear a tie to graduation. There are some people who just don't want to dress up. There are some gothic people who just want to wear their all black. This is something that, again, I have mixed feelings about this because it sends different messages.
Mm-hmm.
That's all
Mhm.
I really have to say about it.
What about you, Richard? We'll give it to T out to you.
Um, I don't know. I this type of shit is starting to get on my nerves. But
Me too, Richard.
that should be able to get graduation regardless. Like, there shouldn't be no law. Like, trying to even have a discussion. Like, that person should have been able to graduate. Like Dante said, like that's a milestone that a person makes regardless. And I think that the person deserves to do that in the most authentic version of themselves. And sign the paper. I guess I gotta do some research. Like the you said in March they signed an agreement. I guess saying that she would show up as her assigned at birth, whatever at that space, whatever that looks like. The request was put in, and I feel like it should not have been denied. Period. Like regardless if she signed it back in March, she felt like today, right now, I graduate. I want to wear my dress, wear my shoes, and be by PM. It should have been it should have been. It shouldn't have been a question, and that's what I have a problem with. We shouldn't be questioning these type of things, but yet we care about the kids so much. Next, I'm good.
Okay, Tia.
I'm trying to find my baby. I ain't got nothing big to say. Praise the Lord. I just
That color looks nice.
I think thank y'all and stuff. Trey said that to me in Walmart earlier. He really did. Alabama Trey looked
And that
like Kevin
Alabama
Gates'
trade.
brother. Listen, I said I got a
Um,
man.
so how do
Listen,
you feel about that? Like, I think
I
so.
believe that because we still have to move in order. And that's one thing that I've learned us with black folks, we don't like to do. We like to be out of order. And then when we don't get our way, it's woe is me. Now,
Mm-hmm,
when she signed that thing in March, y'all say,
mm-hmm.
well, no need to go to court. You signed it.
Right.
Right. That's that. Yeah.
That's the
That
problem.
was the point that they should have made noise about it. Like, why are we even having to entertain this to have to sign this? That's
That's
when you
why the
make noise.
judge
But you
upheld it.
don't make, you don't sign that and then afterwards you want to make some noise about it, because then that proposes the question, why did you sign this paper?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a leg to stand on. And and I know in Mississippi things are a little different for black people, less known black
Yeah.
LGBT
And
people.
trans.
When I got to do ministry, hell, I'd be scared to go through that. I'll put a little extra foundation on the, clock your watch, don't clock me. Cause I'll be looking like, Lord, if this car stalled in a white patrol, Lord Jesus, help us to get there and back to Atlanta. But for that to even be a problem, um, that is a little disturbing.
Mhm.
However, one of y'all said it. Um, the biggest thing, and I know some of the trans sisters may disagree, but that's all right, because I pay my own bills and I put my own lashes on. All they need to be worried about, that the graduation wasn't about your gender.
Mm,
Graduation wasn't about your orientation. Graduation was about getting your diploma, setting you up for life.
mm. So it
And
was a
so
big. It was a bigger picture.
I think that it was a bigger picture. And I also think that when they signed the thing in March, um, here go Trey. I got him, man. If you sign the thing in March, then you didn't have a leg to stand on,
Stand on. I agree.
unfortunately.
And that should have been in the headlines too, because like you
Yeah,
said, that's the optics of that too, because they'll just
Because
say, "Oh, that
yeah,
part,"
that couldn't have
but
been
then
Christy, my mama.
Well, it was
Just
the
couldn't have been.
optics of it because they let us know, even in CNN article there, it tells you that the judge who ruled was appointed by Donald Trump. So they were saying certain things to get people riled up, but
right,
then
right,
when you
yeah,
actually read, like, well, hold on, you signed something.
Thank
But
you. That's what I'm.
what did you
Yes.
sign? That's what I want to know, because that's why the judge ruled off it. What was the language and what did you sign?
Well, so why you think she would go back and renege then? Her
Well,
mom,
my
Because you could
assumption.
get nowadays in our climate, you can make noise off of that,
right? That's true. That's true. Yeah,
right or wrong or indifferent.
indifferent. You yeah,
Trans hate. That's the way you can spin it,
spin
the
it.
narrative.
The narrative. Yeah, I totally
But
agree.
the truth is, like as soon as
Well,
they what Sue would have said,
that's how things get lost in the sauce,
Oh,
because some
yeah.
people are really victim of hate crime when it comes to
yes,
trans, and then you have people just doing stuff like this just for likes, attention, and want to be on TV.
but
Mm-hmm.
that's anything though. That's not just that. That's just all these things get lost in translation because there are people where the good lies, the bad does too. So like always gonna be good and bad, but that doesn't make it less of it. Like I think for me the larger thing is like there are other parents who also could not do that and had to fight that, right? And they didn't may not sign it. They still gotta fight the hate and go against these policies, which I'm learning that they have written where it says that they are required to dress the way that they were assigned at birth. Like regardless of her, like there are other students who did not sign that paper, and they also are transgender and have to go through that same shit. That's what I'm thinking about. Actually thinking about the child that has earned the right of this milestone and wants to show up as who they truly are, regardless of sexuality or anything. I just want to be. Oh,
But so are you identifying who you really are with clothes at this point? Because they say to be a trans is not about what you wear and it's more how you feel. If we get into that, then you can wear anything, right?
non-trans person, I can't tell you how that person feels, but I know that it's more than just their clothing that makes it correct. But like, but I can't tell you how they feel. But I think they deserve the right to make that choice.
Mhm.
well, I mean, in a perfect world, I'm gonna say this. Um, in a perfect world, my baby's calling in. It's a lot going on. Um, no, he likes stuff like this because he's in South Carolina and he's in a town that's rural,
Oh,
and
your man?
to be looked at as heterosexual. He's kind of on that kick of how do I love you, and you're what I need for my life, but this is where I live. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah, yeah.
he's very interested about this kind of stuff. Um, so back to what you were talking about.
Hmm.
You you have in a perfect world, we would like to think that people could. It's not about a look.
Mm-hmm.
However, even amongst it, now can't nobody read harder than the girls. You
The
know.
girls read.
And when you come around somebody and you're not done,
You're not, yeah, you're clockable.
we're gonna read you. That's just culture.
Right, right, right.
Um, However, I believe that whatever you are, you should look. Um, you should be represent. Who said that? Be the most authentic version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Whoever said that?
Yeah.
So,
Be the best representation of
so you
your.
saying the trans woman need to look, she needs to look real fishy.
Not per se fishy, but just look good.
Mm-hmm.
Some trans sisters, they've got, they came up through the pump days, where you go to pump parties and they have that Pinocchio kind of look. This is no shade, but you can kind of tell that they've had work, but they're beautiful women. You can
Mm-hmm.
just, that you'd be like, that's a trans girl, but she cute. You just be the best. Everybody doesn't have resources.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, to go and get 3, 4, 500, $6 hair, or go to Mac. Hell, Mac is like a car payment.
Right.
To get that makeup, or Fendi, and all that kind of stuff, and the clothes and the works. For those who don't know, I'm kind of I say that on this platform because I'm proud and I'm amongst my people. But I have insurance that is going to pay for my top surgery in August.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
But everyone does not have access to that. You know what I'm saying? And so when you be the best, be clean. I grew up I'm an 80s baby. I grew up with parents who was like, before you leave the house, where you wearing that to? You a Gary. Take that
Mm-hmm.
off, iron that, brush your hair, put some lotion on, brush your teeth. And I
So,
think just the
so,
best
so let me ask you
representation.
this, Tia. You would side more with the school on this one versus your trans sister, based up on the facts.
Based on the facts, yes. Because she did. Now, and the if there was no letter and the school was just like, hey, you can't come, you
Mm-hmm.
gotta come as what you were assigned at birth, that's where, I would be up in arms. Because, hey, you're in territory that you're in violation, school, judge.
Yeah, and then
But
you have to also know where you at. She in Mississippi, so I'm sure that climate. And I'm not saying that she shouldn't fight against that climate, but what I'm simply saying, I'm sure I'm assuming it wasn't surprising to her of that, because they've been dealing with this for a minute. And like you said, she was going to the school. They would let her show up for that. But I guess, like you said, a graduation is much different for them. I think they probably took that more serious. So they, you know, I'm just saying, based up on this is the thing, everybody is not going to see the world like gay people. Like, that's what we need to realize. Like, everybody's not going to be for the gay
That
movement.
part I get. It's just simple,
But
basic shit. Like,
but when you
what's the
you
difference
always
between
get
people?
frustrated when these things, because
I don't.
everybody's not going to be for gay people. Everybody don't want that, and it should be like, I'm not saying okay, but it should be very much so. What it's like, you know what I mean? It should. I don't know. I just feel
But
like
why
it's.
question that? Straight people never have to question that. They never have to worry about that. They never have to worry about us saying everything should not be for everybody. Like, everything straight shouldn't be for everybody. That's the question I have. It's like they never have to think about that type of shit, but we do. We got to think about this woman is never, she's not asking to show up in her sexuality. She wasn't asking to, I want to prance around and be trans. She just said, I just want to show up to my graduation as my authentic self. That's it. I'm
Well,
not
Richard,
asking everybody to be I get it. The world is not gonna be perfect, as Tia said, perfect world. I already know we're never gonna get to that point. But for basic shit, like, I earned the right to graduate from my high school graduation. And in that spiritual space, which it is, a spiritual ritual of transitioning from one point of your life to the next, I should be able to show up exactly who I am. And regardless of her, those other
But you
shit.
keep on saying who you
Richard, I
are.
mean, I
What
get
you
what you're
put
saying,
clothes
Richard.
on is not who you are, though. That because
But why is that a question? If I want to put those clothes on, what's the problem?
I
Why is
get
that?
that. I also get the other side too. If it's not,
Yeah,
if
I get the other side as well.
yeah,
Because
so
you
I
have
get
to
your
look at it that with so Richard, some people in our society, you have when they think about boy, and let's just have a 100 conversation. When they think about boy, they are thinking about a male. They're not thinking about a trans person. They're not thinking about anything outside. They equal boy to male, woman to female. That's how they. So when people in
That's
this modern day and age put stuff on a piece of paper
that's
and they
how.
say boy, if they say boy or girl, they're thinking male and female. And then when
mhm.
some gay people come and start adding other things to the mix, you have people like, well, hold on. Now y'all confusing it up a little bit. So you have to try to look at it for both sides. I do
I,
agree that we have to come to some type of liking of minds for both sides because guess what? It is here to stay and it's moving very fast, especially
But
when it
I
comes to
think also
surgery.
too, if
That's
we
about
do
to
not
go up.
put a standard to it, and if we do not put not a lid on it, but if we do not like not so open to everything, it would be the thing that also destroy the gay community as a whole. I'm not saying that you don't who I love and who I'm affectionate to, me loving same sex is to have nothing to do with the facts though. The facts are still the facts. Only the opposite sex can create a child, can procreate. At the end of the day, without procreation, we all will not be here.
but why is that always what we center our experience around? Like, there are gay people that are going to continue to have children, though. Like, so it's not.
Right, but what I'm saying, this movement is getting so progressive
Well,
when you even talk
they
about the
have.
procreation part of things, and they can't even take the science out of it. So anything that you do, you can never like get so far where you taking the facts out of it, because at the end of the day, that will be your demise. That would be the thing that actually destroy it. So it's like, oh, I can be who I am, but the facts are still the facts. The facts are still the facts. So that process should be celebrated
And
versus
one thing I do want to add, gay people in the 80s are completely different, and 90s, I would say, are completely different from the gay people that's coming up right now.
And so were the people in the 70s were different from the gay people that grew up in the 80s, and they were more progressive. That's always going to
But
happen.
Richard, we as gay people, trans or not, in the 80s and 90s, babies, we don't think that there's birthing people. We know that only females can birth. You have
No,
people,
that's
children
what I'm
these days who
so
actually think that
that's
men can get pregnant.
they
because
are.
that's the point.
That's
And
impossible.
that's the point I'm
But
making.
that's
Well,
Because
sometimes Trey meat can be so good. You be thinking I need to do buy birth control. I
no,
mean, I need to get a
and
birth
that's
test
funny
after
though.
this
But the
thing.
facts
But
are this.
listen,
I totally agree with them because they don't understand what procreation is, and I feel like at the end of the day, we still have to teach people fact. At the end of the day, procreation is between the opposite sex. Let's take the woman and the man word out of it. Let's look at the fact, and that's my fear. The fear of it is I can't. Me and a nigga get together. We can't create a legacy. We can't create a legacy simply because I cannot create a legacy if I do not continue to live on the earth. How do I continue to live on the earth? Procreation. That is the fact. But with
It
this new
is.
generation, the
Well, what are
thought
the
of
facts that saying we're having less children? I'm confused. Where's the point? The argument is always procreation, but where's the proof that the population has been depopulated because gay people exist? Show me that proof, because I get what you're saying, but like, where's the proof that because we're being who we are
the
and
and
we're
proof
all
is
this
in the
sex was meant
language.
for
The proof,
procreation, honey.
the
Sex
proof
was
is
meant
in
for
this. I'm sure the
enjoyment.
proof,
That's a fact.
that's
Y'all don't like
enjoyment.
me.
motherfuckers out here fucking that straight people who can't even have children.
I,
So like, what you talk
but
about?
that's not the argument, of course. But that's based up on what we have been putting in our body as human beings. Period. We can't
But
do a lot of shit that we can do based
and
upon
I
what
agree with
we think.
procreation. I think that should be a top
Right,
priority.
but what I'm
I'm not.
simply
I'm saying
saying,
that's not
let's
the
not.
only reason
Well,
why
being
sex
myself
was
does
made.
not mean that procreation. Like
That is so. What's the
they
purpose of sex?
automatically.
The purpose of sex is procreation. To you, that's the only reason for sex, based upon definition. What we do with it, playing with it, that's what we do. Definition is procreation. We gotta stick with the facts. Like that's why I say what Dante said it early. Being gay is simply being attracted to same sex. They have nothing to do with the sex
Statement.
part. Say it again.
I get what you're saying as stated as a definition, but like being gay does not just mean sexuality for every person that identifies as gay. And I
So
Yeah,
feel
what
and
does
I agree with
like
that.
we can't say that as like that's the existence, because that's not what pride itself is. Based on definition, like you're saying, yes,
I
gay.
think that's pride for you though. I don't think that's pride for the massive. I think when they think of pride, let's be realistic. They think about gay stuff. and they think about getting
They like, but we not talking about they. I'm celebrating me, and I'm not asking them permission to
right.
do
But what I'm
it.
saying, but you're self-educated. We're talking about when we give a Black gay perspective, we speaking up on, we giving from the majority perspective. You self-educated. You taught yourself a lot of this stuff because you wanted to know more. I'm just simply saying the average person, when you talk to the average gay person, because it's like the masculinity is very much on attack when it come down in the gay community. If you talk about the thought of them being with one in procreation, it's ugh. It's those type of sound because they automatically think that I'm gay, I'm not supposed to procreate. They don't even know what that is. So what I'm simply saying of it is we can all love who we want to love, but let's not get away from the science of things. Let's not get so far away where we kill our own self. And that's
But
what I fear based up on the language and
I
the
don't
type of
believe that. To
activities that
me,
we
it's
involve
giving
ourselves into.
I hear
conservative.
what you're saying. I just feel like
But
sometimes we.
no, y'all,
This
I
is about
believe. Go
Tia,
ahead,
at the end of the
Rachel.
day, you're a beautiful trans woman. At the end of the day, you cannot procreate. You know what I mean?
No,
So
not that. Well,
so
no, that is true. But y'all know, y'all know that's just me.
I
But
know you
what
good,
I'm
but what
saying is this:
I'm saying it should be
there is no
celebrated.
way we can get away from that fact. There's no
Okay.
way we can get away from that fact. However, I think this goes back. This is why I'm saying low key, Greg, you give it conservative
I'm
because
conservative on
with
some
that,
issues. I'm
because
progressive
there's
on
no
some
way we can
issues.
get away from that. But
But
on the
no, I'm
other
telling you, if you
hand,
talk to
if
this new
someone is
generation,
different,
when you talk about to this new generation, that mostly gay people, most like 80% of them is feminine. The feminine movement is very much up on them. If the thought of being with a woman and procreating
but
is
y'all,
not
let's
even
be
on their.
real. Let's be real. Most, now let's not be too Atlanta that we forget where we came.
Okay, what you mean by that? But
The
I'm just saying,
first thing that most people that catches black gay men's eyes, or I'm not gonna say catch their eyes, but I'm saying when you first really realize and coming to your own about
mhm,
your sexuality, the first thing for many black gay men is femininity.
that's true. Why though?
That's like your
Why?
gate.
Because
That's like your
most of the
segue
times,
into where you're
What?
gonna be.
because I'm gonna give you the facts of why. Because they are taught to be gay is based up on the way your characteristic, which reality is no one can look gay. You can only be gay. So we have in this world, based upon misinformation, we have associated masculine and feminine with being gay. And the facts are you can only be gay. You cannot look gay. You can look feminine and masculine. So that's why. That is why when I have this conversation, I'm so big up on we have to separate that. We have to stick to the facts at the end of the day. Like we can be gay,
And
you
I
can be
believe
feminine,
that.
you can be masculine, but we need to still involve procreation in that somehow.
But
And
Because
that, well, no, because also you have a lot of devil's advocate. You
okay,
have
I'm
a
listening.
lot of people that cannot, heterosexual people that due to rape, molestation,
I get that, but
not
that's not
being
the
able to take
argument I'm
care of
having.
kids, the
That's based
kids that are
upon
waiting
something
to be
happened to their
loved and
body.
adopted.
I'm right, and that's something happened to their body. That's not the argument. I'm not. No, I'm simply saying, at the end of the day, we cannot get so involved in our activities on the earth. We still have a obligation. I feel of procreation.
I disagree.
I mean, I
I
agree.
feel like there are
I want
many
to carry my last name and my
that
bloodline.
want to gay people who want to procreate.
I
There
have
are
a
black
niece.
gay people who want to procreate and
You say what?
She said she have a niece. That's enough.
I have a niece. And can I say this
Mm-hmm.
before true story? 3 years ago, before I started medically transitioning,
Mm-hmm.
the doctor said to me, Miss Gary, I have the first Caucasian doctor
Mm-hmm.
for trans women in
mm,
Georgia. He said to me, Tia, if you're gonna have kids, um, I think that you should get your semen
Mm-hmm. I
and we
agree.
can freeze it, and then you start transitioning. Or you can't, if you want to have kids biologically, you're gonna have to go into it and then stop transitioning for about 6 months, build your semen count back up. We
Mm-hmm.
freeze it then, and then so 3.5 years in now, few months ago, he said, Tia, you're kind of out there. this will be a good time for you to stop if you want to have biological kids, and we freeze it, and then you start back
What you
on
do?
your transition medically. And when you talk about legacy, of course, it is good for you to have someone born, of your loins and all that kind of stuff. If that appeals to you, that doesn't appeal to me.
So you
What
told them no.
does
You
is I
told a
have
doctor no,
little young
basically.
people in each church that I work for,
Hmm.
heterosexual men across Atlanta, who I'm having a chance to build my legacy in
Mm-hmm.
music ministry and teaching them that they'll be able generations to
Hmm.
teach people. And that's my legacy.
Okay. Well, I
But
I
me
feel
having a
different. I
little
think it's
one,
procreation is a
that's just how I
obligation for all human being. Like that's why human being been around for millions of years, simply because everybody been doing a part of procreation. So I feel like without it,
but for those
we're
who
gonna
do
be
that,
doomed.
it's there for.
What I feel different.
I,
Then
I
Richard.
with Tia, I agree. Like for those who are meant to procreate, they will. If that's just my belief the God that I serve, I feel like things happen on purpose. And those who are meant to procreate, they're
Yes.
going to procreate in their truest and most authentic selves from the way that God meant. That's just my.
Your thing.
I think.
Because
Some,
I believe that
I,
we all are expressions of God.
We
yeah.
Each
are, we
doesn't have
are, we
one
are.
expression.
But procreation is still our obligations. I feel.
I think it's a human obligation, correct, but not every human is meant to be a doctor, and not every human is meant to
But
speak.
a doctor is made up by man,
But
though,
but
Richard. That's
every
man
but
concept. I'm talking about
But it's
based upon
needed. Doctors
okay,
yeah,
are
based upon
needed.
all species. What all species do? What all everything do they procreate?
okay,
So
yeah,
we're not talking about doctor, lawyer. That's something we made up.
yeah. But
I'm
I
talking
think
about based upon facts.
it limits people. Like, but when we say all people have an obligation, for me, it just speaks to those people who can't have children who want to. And
But
young,
that's
but
once again, that's based upon what we have done to the human body as a whole.
No,
Food.
because you have certain people, even there are scriptures, not to y'all know Mother's Churchy. There were, do you know that biblically, they would put men who were castrated. They're not
Once
made to
again,
be
that's
castrated,
man-made.
but
Castrate. God,
eunuchs.
God didn't do that to
No,
them.
listen.
Hmm.
They were not able to have kids, and those were the men that were put over the concubines because,
mm,
of course, they couldn't reproduce. I'm saying they were born not
unable.
able to make babies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I will have to do more research on that. I don't know about
Please
that
do.
here.
I'm not making this up.
People are born not being able to make kids.
I'm not saying
Right.
that,
And,
but I
and if
feel
a
like it's
woman, if a
because
natural
something.
born
I feel
woman
like
can't
that's
have
based up
kids, is
on
she
something
less
we
than a
done to.
woman?
I feel like that's based up on something we done as a to the human body in terms of the human species, based up on the universe being created. When God first put all this together, we are designed to procreate. Due time, we have fucked up the human race in the body. So of
Yeah,
course, we can't do a lot of
It's
shit no
giving
more.
conservative.
I know,
We
I
can't
get
do
what you're saying, but the world we live in, everyone is not able to. So I
right
think
the
Unfortunately,
world we
Greg.
live in. You right today world, but based up on the facts and God, it was designed for men and women to procreate because
I
this is
believe that,
our
but
home.
that I agree
also
Based upon
with. That,
species.
Leah and Rachel.
I don't disagree with that part, Greg. I disagree with you saying that it should be every human's obligation. To me, that's
But
just.
that's our original purpose,
But
though.
you can't say it's our obligation, even if I'm born.
That's what obligation is. Obligation. That's if that's your purpose. It's your obligation.
No,
Yeah.
Greg, you
We
can't.
just
Like,
praise the
Yeah.
Lord, agree to disagree, because I don't believe that that's your
I,
obligation.
I feel like it's our obligation as a human species as a whole to
I
do
think that that's your choice.
that. That's the that's that choice word. No, I think as when God first put all this together, you want to call them, our job was to procreate at the end of the day. Okay, so let's move on to
when
the
we
next
start to depopulate, we can bring this conversation back up.
no, but
Hello.
Because
but
I'm like,
the
niggas are still like,
depopulation is based up on what they say crowded because they want to put buildings and all this other stuff we got going on as human beings. This world ain't depopulated based up on God and the universe. Is what man concepts say is depopulated because they want to do for money purposes and stuff.
that's what I'm saying. I think
It's
we're
a lot of room out there.
pretty good job. I think we're doing a pretty good job at making babies.
Okay. Okay, guys, let's go to the next topic. Okay, so the next topic, Montana first to ban drag performer from reading children in schools and libraries. So this is the first state that actually banned performers, drag performers, from reading to children in schools and in libraries. So I want to get how you feel about that, but I also want to raise this question. I want to oppose this drag performer versus guns because I've been seeing in a lot of conservative states, they okay with a child having a gun, I think having a gun, shooting this, being violent, whatever, but they do not want their child to participate and see drag show, but they okay with guns being everywhere. So I want to get your thought about that, but first get your thought about what do you feel about they banning performers from reading to children in schools, Dante.
I mean, this might come off offensive to our drag queen audience, but when I think about a drag queen, it's just somebody who I want to see shaking their ass, twerking, dipping, giving me a full fledged production. I don't want you to sit up here and read story time to me. Hell, I don't even want you to do a ballad. I
But
want you to do
how
Britney Spears, Beyonce. I want to see you perform in an adult setting because that's what you are geared to do. Perform for adults. And if you give me a good performance, I'm going to tip you well. I don't want to be worried about you reading to no children. I think that's inappropriate. I think drags are adult entertainers. They should be in adult spaces. Period. That's my opinion.
But let me ask this:
I
how do you
agree.
think it got started for them reading to children? Do y'all know where that concept come from?
It started in San Francisco. I was trying to do some research on it before we jumped on, but I got busy with other stuff. It started in San Francisco, which is not surprising.
Right.
Um, I so I always try to look at things from both sides,
Okay.
and I see why they are trying to do it. They're trying to open up society eyes to, you know, men that dress in drag or women's clothing and be very theatrical with their makeup and their clothing. So I get all that. There is a good cause behind it, but instead of you going in your drag outfit, why don't you just find some other way to go read to children? Like, why? What's this push to just have drag read to kids or drag your kids to a drag show or a drag queen performing in front of children? Like, I don't understand this push, and I don't think that's really what the majority of the gay community wants, especially I would say the black gay
The
community wants.
black gay, yeah, I totally agree.
I don't think that's what we want. And again, it hurts us when we're already trying to fight so many other different battles. This one right here is just kind of why are we even going down? Why are we going down this path? Like
Yeah, because I
we
don't
should
get it why
point
they
of
need to reach to
entertaining
children and
children.
drag either. I don't get why they need to do that. Like why they need to
Yeah,
reach.
I don't know what the benefit of it is.
Yeah, that's why I was saying where they come from. It just seemed like this is something that shouldn't even be questioned. Like
Because I feel like two things. One, that would be just like a stripper.
right, reading to your child.
You said that before.
And then also, um, I can see now. I don't agree with Doctor. Is it Zumar Omar?
Umar, I know you talking about. I like Umar.
I know you would.
I like Umar. He's
Um,
hilarious.
I can see with stuff like that. I can see how he could say the rainbow. He calls it the rainbow agenda.
Gender, yeah, yeah.
I can see how he could equate that because that does look like there is an
Yeah,
agenda.
exactly. Because I'm like you said, it
That
just seemed like a
does.
fish out of water for a drag queen to
I
like.
would not want my child being read a book by a drag queen. Um, yeah, I no, no.
Yeah, I'm totally in agreement with that. Like, I think is I'm not I don't know.
I
I
just
don't
don't
get
see a
it.
benefit.
Yeah, I don't see the benefit. I don't get it, and I think that would be my question I raise. Like, I don't get the benefit. Therefore, I would just want more understanding. It wasn't that I would not be in agreement with it. It would be more so I don't.
I wouldn't care to. I may be ignorant, and ignorance is twofold. One is not knowing, but the other fold of ignorance is not wanting to know. So I would be ignorant. That's
You
just
wouldn't want
something
to
I
know
would think.
either.
Even when I see those reels on, um, when I see those reels on TikTok and stuff,
Hmm.
I don't even stick around to watch it. I
Yeah.
just be sitting there looking at my phone like, what the hell is this for? You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It just seemed like a fish out of water to me, and it could
right.
because I probably don't understand the purpose behind it or all of that. So I would like to know more, but I just when I don't on the surface I don't see the benefit of it or see it that way. Therefore, I can't. I don't know. I don't know why would a that would be out there. Any thoughts? Final thoughts on that, Dante? Me, I was say Misha, Dante, and Tia.
So I always get confused when people bring up the gun aspect in this.
Yeah, so because this is what I'm saying, because I do think it's a double standard. I would have to say I'm glad you brought that back up because I do feel like with a lot of conservatives, they okay with the guns in terms of like the I'm not saying that they want the mass shooting, but when it comes down to the gun laws, they very open with that. They're very like okay with that. But when it comes down to drag, because a drag is just perform, I'm not gonna act like they're gonna make my child gay because a child a drag queen performing. But with the guns, they don't they okay with not putting regulations in with these machine guns that going in school to murder these people. So I
So
can't get with that either. I
So
feel
when
like
it
that
comes to
part
the
is
guns, it unfortunately, in reality, you can have as many laws as you want. A criminal or somebody who's mentally ill is going to get some type of weapon or car or a baseball bat that just recently happened and go. If they want to attack somebody, they're going to attack somebody. It doesn't matter.
but
I
but
think
but,
what we need to
but
do
you
as a
have to say the
society when it
outrage
comes
the outrage
I
do
think
not
when it
match.
comes, I think when it comes to society, what we need to start doing is stop glorifying people who do mass shootings. And when I say glorify them, I mean talk about them, talk about their manifesto. We need to actually, kind of go to the Middle East. You want to do a mass shooting and we catch you? Let's put you in front of a firing squad live TV and kill you. Let me show you. This is what really happens. We need to get a little bit gruesome.
But
And
Dante,
you can have all these gun laws. It's still not going to stop somebody who
but
is
Dante, you have to
insane,
admit though with
mentally challenged from
Dante,
wanting
you
to
have
go
to
shoot
admit
up places.
you have to admit with the majority of the conservatives, they are okay with having not having gun regulations in place to prevent these type of mass shooting with the machine gun, but they outraged about a drag show. You have to say
So
that
the
that's kind of
conservatives do have a proposal. People don't like their proposal. They do have a proposal.
what is their
Proposal
proposal?
for what?
They have. They said that there should be more police, and then some have even
Oh
went
my God.
as far
They
as some
should
has gone
ban
as far
machine
as
guns. They
some
should
has
how
gone
about
as
banning
far as
That's
arming teachers. So I do think there are ideas being brought to the table, but unfortunately, both sides are not trying to come to any form of agreement because you
gun
have one that say there should be restrictions, and you have one say, you're not taking away my
but
rights.
Dante, how about banning machine guns and these guns that are like what do you need that gun for? That type of gun.
Who are you to tell somebody that they might have the gun for several reasons?
What name one to have that a machine gun?
Hunting,
Because
collection.
majority of these mass shootings are done with machine gun.
But you just
I
said
It's
people
not a
with mental
machine gun,
health are
actually.
hunting and shooting too. I don't know.
no, I think that's crazy. I don't know.
That's just.
Richard, let me get your
I
take
mean,
on it.
at the end of the day,
We didn't get his take on the first one.
the
Yes,
facts are. I just y'all kind of already know where I'm going with certain things, right? But the fact, since we're talking about facts, the facts are children are not the number one killer in America is from guns to children. The
that
children
part.
are not dying because they're seeing drag queens or that they're getting pride flags or that they might be gay and they're hanging around gay people or trans people. They're not dying because of that. They're actually dying more of suicide because they're not in spaces because they can do that. But the number one killer of children is guns. So granted, whether how you feel, I do believe that people should have the right to bear arms and all that good stuff. I believe in that. Yes, I do. But what we're not going to sit here is pretend that children are our number one priority and then at the same time recognize the facts, since that's what we're talking about, that children are dying, number one, because there are not enough laws or regulations around guns, and then make our number one priority not be guns, but instead be about drag queens.
Yeah, that's hypocritical.
what's the message? Like, what's the really your priorities are speaking your agenda, regardless if the facts are true or not about guns. If people should have guns, why is you going hard? That's why we feel like a need to be like you're
Guns,
transphobic. You're transphobic. Period. Like that's why people are like you're transphobic because your agenda is proving that. Why are you worrying about? Granted, yes, if it's a concern, yes, but the number one concern should be children
Yeah,
are
I
dying
definitely
because of
totally
this.
agree. I think if it come down to drag shows and guns, it should be guns because
Right.
once again, my child ain't gonna turn gay for seeing drag show. If, do I want my child around one? No, but I'm not gonna pretend like
My
people
son
in the
ain't
world.
my child also ain't automatically gonna die because they gay.
They right, but for like yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's
I,
Or
I, I
think
would
about
not
being
even want to
gay.
put the same two in the column. I'll say that.
why.
So
What
I
you
think
mean?
that it's even stupid to even try to say drags or guns, either or. No,
No,
don't
because
think drag queens
you didn't
should
see that
be in
segment
any
where they
place
was
when it
going
comes to
around. They
children.
went to this.
And when
You
it
didn't.
comes to guns, I think that is, that's our constitutional right.
But listen, Dante, you didn't see the segment when they went around to these people in these conservative states and city, and they were asking them
I
about
saw that
guns.
they went to some people who were very interesting characters that they got to talk on TV.
But you
Yes,
have
I
to
saw
say
that.
that is really
It's
interesting that they okay with guns, but not the that come
like
on.
it's crazy to me. Like
That's
that's
interesting.
crazy to me. That's why it'd be hard for me to listen to the other side sometimes because it's like at the same time, like I'm trying to listen when I can hear people who actually make sense and actually have a spirit about them. But when you literally just like, nope, I don't give a fuck. No drag queens, but yeah, we should have our guns. So like, what?
Yeah.
Richard, you have to. I hear what you're saying, but you have to understand that some people on the other side feel the same way when we have people talking about
Oh,
birthing people.
and I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not. But at the end of the day, when you are the leaders in charge, you have a larger responsibility. Majority rules, right? Conservative, white, straight people. You have the bag. You have the stage. So yes, I'm going to hold you most accountable in this conversation. White conservative heterosexual males are number one, like on main stage. So I get it on both sides. Those discrepancies exist, but like you have the responsibility in real life and in real responsibility. You have most of majority rules
Yeah.
in society.
Yeah, and
So I'm holding you to that.
I really believe you trolling if you don't see the hypocrisy in it.
What's that?
You don't see like that's crazy for them to be uproar about drag show, but they okay with not having gun regulations and laws in place.
No, actually, I get it.
You honestly okay with that?
Yeah, I do. I do get it.
Okay.
If I'm somebody who enjoy collecting guns for whatever reason
But
it
these
may
guns are
be.
causing like mass shoot. They're not the reason, but these are the tools that they are using.
So I think people look at guns differently. I know one of the reasons why I would always want to keep a gun near me is because of an experience that I went through. So it really depends on the person, what they have gone through, how they were upraised. It's different. Again, it's different layers to it. When it comes to guns or drags, I don't think drag should be in school. I do think we need to do a better job at protecting our children and the teachers at school. I do think the police officers is a better option. I do think we need to stop glorifying these killers. So that's just my opinion on it.
But they're gonna kill, and they have the guns, and they have the access, and they have the.
But if you
Yeah,
restrict all guns, do you think that's going to stop
I
gun
don't.
violence?
I
I'm not
mean, the
saying
same question. If you restrict all drag shows, you think that's going to stop the drags? Like this, these questions are not like the questions are the same. Like I don't know.
No, they're not the same. Actually,
It's not, but based on your experience, right? You see how you use an experience to say why we shouldn't, like when trans people, and I'm not to just bring it back, but when transgender people are saying like I want to do this particular thing because of my experience, and you shouldn't make a law that goes against it. Is that crazy
so
too?
no,
Or is
no
that
one ever. So there's only one state, unfortunately, that has gone far, and I believe that's Louisiana, if I'm correct. That's gone far to want to try to put certain parameters when it comes to adults transitioning. I personally don't think there should be any law put in place when it comes to adults wanting transitioning. Now, when it comes to minors, that's a red flag for me. That's a hard no.
But
so
Dante,
they
once
can
again, let me ask you
transition,
this
but
though:
they can be
you
around
really don't
guns.
understand the difference with your party base, the conservative, that they're more outraged over drag shows than the
Yeah,
regulation gun. You really don't understand it.
No, I get that. There are more outrage over that.
So
that's
that's
crazy.
not crazy to
That's
you.
crazy, bro. That's so crazy.
That I'm honestly asking the question. Like, that's
How?
not crazy to you?
Because what's the immediate harm? Like the immediate harm of drag shows on children. What's
You're
the
right.
immediate harm?
There's no immediate harm, but guess what? Drag shows, it could lead to detrimental harm for a child later in life because
So it's not.
you might have some people. Let me just get this out. You might have some people who go watch a drag show. They might be, oh, I like that drag show. Then you might have some of them that want to start to do drag. Then you have some of them that might want to change their pronoun and their name. Then you might have some that might want to transition. But guess what? Some of you that might transition, your body might act differently from that surgery, and you might kill yourself eventually.
I think both of them
But
can
that
be
doesn't
dangerous.
equate
But
to
what I'm
death.
saying though, don't
That's
you
not
think when it
equating.
comes down to a gun immediately taking your life,
That's
that is more, that is
there's no
worse,
question about that.
right?
We're
That should be
questioning
no
I don't
suicide.
even know why we are even having drags versus guns. To be
because when
honest
he
with
asked the question, it was just bizarre that people was like, "Oh, I rather the drag gotta go. I'm gonna keep my gun to kill people or let people do what they do." So it
you.
was
They didn't
just
say they want to keep.
bizarre.
They're going to kill people. At
I
least
didn't say
none
that,
of the
but what
videos
I'm
that I
simply
But
heard.
that's
saying
the
though,
message. Like
that
if we talking about the facts are, and that children should not be around drag, and we shouldn't have our kids around drag, but we know that kids are dying. Number one cause is guns, but no, we're more outraged about drag. What?
yeah,
What
I think
logical
Dante
sense
know
from
that
your
shit crazy
mindset
as
does that
hell.
make? Like, what logical sense does that even make?
I don't.
Shake the
It's kind of
table.
hard to use the word
Listen.
logical when we have people that. Anyways, let's not
But
use the
they
word
base their,
logical. To be
but a
honest
lot
with
of the
you, let's
arguments on the
not use
conservative
it.
side is based on
Let's not use the
logic.
word logical. Okay.
Yeah, but a lot of the arguments on the conservative side, not saying you particularly, like it's about logic. It's about logic and like what makes sense in facts. But it's like this
Yeah,
is why people like myself go hard. Like it's not because I don't understand that people like you exist on the other side, but when the majority rules and you make decisions like that, that's why I'm fighting to be who I am. That's why I'm making noise. That's
I mean,
why I gotta stand
honestly,
up.
I
It's
don't
like
think we
y'all
should
don't give
be.
a fuck.
I don't think we should be comparing the two.
only because you know it's crazy. The
It is
fact that they're
crazy.
more
It's crazy that
outraged
we're
about
even
the
It's
talking
drag
about it.
shows,
outrage.
It
you
is
It's
know
not
it's
crazy.
even.
crazy as hell that they're more outraged over drag shows than gun policies and
Yes, it
regulations.
is. It is. It's a waste of time. To be honest with you, I would
But
be.
don't you think the guns is more important because lives are getting
I
taken away
do that.
crazy
Would
about?
not want to do that. No, I would. I don't think. I don't think guns do not kill people.
You
People
right. People
pull
kill
the
people, but
trigger
they
to
use
kill
guns to
people.
kill people. So if we have regulations and laws
What,
in place,
criminals don't fall. If somebody wants to go shoot up a place of employment, just like we had here in Atlanta, if somebody wants to go
right?
shoot up a school, if somebody wants to go shoot up a hospital, a movie theater, if they had the intent that they today want to take their life and everybody else's life for whatever reason, they're going to do it. And hell, even if you take a gun away, you just had somebody in Virginia recently, I think it was last week, with a baseball bat going through a neighborhood,
But
swinging at
Dante, I'm
people, then
thinking
got
about
into a
security.
congressman
I'm
person's
talking about the
office
motherfuckers.
and hit them with the bat. So
I'm
what, are
talking
you going
about
to start banning bats?
I'm talking about
People
the
get behind the wheel of the car and they're drunk. Are you going to start? What are we going to do then?
we talking about machine guns and stuff and those type of
First of
guns
all,
because
it's
we know
not
most.
machine
Let
guns
me
that's
finish.
being shot.
Most
That is not. People are not using machine
not
guns.
machine gun, but certain type of guns. It is a certain particular type of guns that are mostly used in mass shooting. Why do you
Mhm.
need that type of gun? You
Why
know
do
what
you
I'm
have
saying?
access? It's crazy that
And
people have
Yeah,
access to
it's
that type
for
of shit.
various reasons. Again, they might have it
you
because
just name
But
one. Name
they're
Dante,
two.
people are
collectors,
Only
they're
killing
thing
a
you
people
said
with
is
those
hunter,
hunting.
they just
guns.
like shooting. I mean, it can be for whatever reason. I
What?
don't think we
What?
should
What?
have restrictions on the amount of guns that people should purchase
You
or the
honestly,
amount of bullets. I mean, because black people love guns too. I love guns. So, I mean, who should tell me what I should buy with my money?
But we can tell people that they okay. I never. I don't know. I don't know no more.
I get it. I'm just simply saying y'all need to with that one y'all lost the conservative because they cannot be more outraged over a
It's the
drag
outrage
performance
for me. That it's like
than
the
It would be,
outrage
I
for
mean,
me.
guns.
if you're asking Dante, it would be at the bottom of the list for me, at the very, very bottom of the list
What would be at the bottom of the drag shows?
of concern, yes.
Right. But I'm just saying I'm talking about y'all as a whole, as a party. I feel
I,
like
I think you know they just interview some interesting characters. We'll say that, but the large majority of Republicans do not care about that. I think the media is just trying to focus on these cultural wars because you got the Florida governor who finally decided to jump in, and he's going to lose to Donald Trump.
yeah,
So
he don't
there's
lose
that.
yeah.
Yeah, but
But also too, Richard, let me get your opinion about this before we head out. How did you feel about Montana first ban on performers from reading to children in schools and libraries?
I mean, y'all know what me. I don't like blanket statements, so I don't like blanket statements, right? And I think from what I heard when I came back, it's like we automatically again associated drag with sexuality, and every drag performer is going to be dressed like Dante gave
But
it a
why
great
do a
example.
drag need to read a book to your child though? That's the
But
point
like
I'm
I
hearing.
don't see, but that's not a sexual thing. That's an expression of a person's gender. Like people come dressed in costumes and they dress in other type of stuff. I don't think drag what we are equating in my mind with I'm just
Mhm.
hearing from people in society in the larger conversations that we are automatically again assuming drag performance or drag expression with sexuality and that we're teaching kids to have sex and be this and be that. But that's not automatically that every drag performer is going to do that. Do I agree that things should be with decorum and in order and appropriately? Yes, but I don't think all drag performers should be banned from reading to their children, to reading to children. No, I don't agree with that. I think there should be rules and parameters. If people can motherfucker have guns and we can give them rules and parameters, we can say drag performers can perform and give them rules and parameters on how it can be done. If we really, I mean, if that's
Now, I do believe in what you said, but something else was thrown out that I wanted to address.
Okay, what was it?
Um, the young man above me.
That's a
What's your name, baby?
Dante.
Dante, you're well spoken. I admire you. But but I got to come down your street. Praise the Lord. Do you all think that number one, that a drag queen could, which you've already stated this, the young man next to me,
Richard. Mhm.
Richard. So you've already said, but do you think that a drag queen could be the gateway into trans?
Mm. Oh yeah, cause he did say he did say something earlier. Yep, he did say that.
This
I
ain't an
think
attack.
I think it
I
would.
don't do that.
I think it would spark curiosity in some mind, some children's mind. I do think it would.
Mm.
Hmm.
Okay. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah,
Now,
because most
do you
that child probably would think that's what a woman, if they see them like that. I can get that, but I do get you, Tia, too. I get it.
now you also said something else.
Go ahead.
Glory to God. You said that that could cause them to start a life that later on could injure them because of surgeries or medication. Is that correct?
Yeah, that what he said.
That I did say that because
So do you think that there's a certain age where one could identify and want to be trans? Or
do I think
should they be older?
to answer your first part of your question, it's hard for me to answer that because I'm not trans, so I don't know
Well,
what's
you
the
said
age
that your
range.
child can be trans in your house, though.
I have said that, and
You
yes,
said what?
He said his child will not be allowed to be trans in his house.
You said what?
So
I did. I have
you
said
do
that.
have an
Okay,
opinion.
can I ask why? And this is a discussion.
Mhm.
I love everybody because I plan on making heaven my home, and unfortunately, I got to love y'all to do that.
Yeah, he said that his child will have to be out his house if his child wants to trans.
Would that be the same if they were gay or lesbian?
Good
No.
question. Why trans though?
Right.
So this is my belief. I do believe that a male is a male, and I think a female is a female. If my child was to come to me and say that he or she wanted to transition to the other, that is fine. That's something you can totally do as an adult. But in my house,
We gonna serve the Lord.
this is what it is. And I was raised by a baby boomer, and I was taught you are the parent, and you are the dictator. You're the one in charge. I'm not going to make my child will feel like they can come and talk to me about anything and share anything with me.
But you didn't
Are
answer
you
the
prepared for the
question.
backfiring of that? Though?
But Dante, you didn't answer the question.
So
Why
I have
trans
thought
and not
about
gay?
that, but I feel, Richard, that, and I'll tell here, right?
But Dante,
I hope I
why
don't offend
trans
you.
and not gay?
Just because I believe that just because you transition, that does not mean that it's going to resolve any depression that you
Oh,
feel.
that's not. Yeah. No,
I don't think that that's the answer to that.
but
But
it's not.
Dante,
But I
why
mean,
trans and not gay though? Why would you be okay with gay and not trans? Is what I was looking for.
Because I think if you decide to transition from a male to a female, you're still not a woman. You're still a man in my
So
eyes.
basically, you don't believe in trans existence. Is that safe to say?
I believe in human existence.
Okay, that's a
how
political
can you
answer.
say that? I don't know. So are we saying? I'm just clarifying. Are we saying that trans people are not human? I'm just clarifying.
Well, most of the people think we aliens anyway. So
like, because that's scary. That's a scary thought.
No, because some people say if you gay, period, you can't be in my house. But he
Yes.
okay with being gay. It's just he don't want you to become another person, I guess.
Yeah, I personally, I that's something that I.
or don't
Yeah,
express. Okay.
that's hey. I believe in a person should raise a child like they want to. So if that's your
Now,
child,
if my child comes back to the house and they're trans, then that's what you decide to do.
but not as you rate, not while you raising them.
No,
Okay.
So you wouldn't love that your adult son who transitioned into transgender.
I would love my adult son. I would love my adult son or my adult
now you
daughter.
sound like Angela. Angela.
Yeah, you left my house, you went out, you did whatever you want to do. You come back, and if this is the person that you are,
would still call
I'm
him
gonna hug you
son,
with open arms.
Will you still say son?
I will respect to whatever you want me to call you.
We call okay. Well, you said son. That's why.
But you would not.
Well, I'm speaking into existence because I want a son.
You want a
But
son. Okay.
but you're not. You're saying that you're not. You would not be. You would not support it, but you would accept it.
Yes.
So I have this one question. So, and I respect that. Greg said, I respect that people should be able to raise their children the way that they should, right? In that same spirit, do you think it's fair to make laws or things in society to stop other parents who believe that they want to raise transgender children? Just the same way you have the same right to be able to do that with your child. Do you think it is actually if someone made a law that said you cannot ban your child from leaving your house if they trans, do you think that would be fair? Do you think that would be a fair law?
I think it's different when you are talking about a doctor cutting open or doing something to a child.
But
that's
it's still
a different story, Greg. That's a completely different story. And just because a mother smokes crack in front of her mother, that doesn't make it right. There has to be somebody who has to say, again, if you want to transition as an adult, by all means, do that. You have every right, the money, and do that. But when it comes to a child, that is a life-changing decision. And surgery, we're talking about trans surgery or reaffirming surgery. But surgery, it affects people's bodies different. You and I can have the same type of surgery, Richard, but you might heal differently from me.
And this is correct. I totally agree.
And we don't know. We don't know the side effects of these things.
Right? That's even if we get to that person, if we want to transition in that way, or if we want to do that type of transition. I agree with that. That's why I agree we can't make blatant statements that tell people that that's how they have to raise their children. That's what I'm trying to get us to think.
I think Richard's question was, do you feel like it's fair for a law to be in place?
Do you think it would be fair
to stop minors from transitioning? Yes.
But that's not a parent's choice. Even if a parent, the same way you have the choice to say, I don't want my child to be
Can I ask
I as a parent want to say, I want to support my child transitioning, and I want to sign the documents that say I want my child to be. That's me as a parent. That's my personal choice, correct? So
as a parent, so it would be. So let's go ahead and play this game. It's okay as a parent if you want to put your child in sex trafficking.
But that's not the same.
Come on. You're basically cutting up your child's body. I mean, that pussy that holes don't get used if they're getting raped every goddamn day.
But that's not all transition. See, we limit transition to that automatic thing. Right? There's more than just a medical transition that's being involved in here. Not everyone is going to get bottom surgery.
Now wait a minute. Trey, is it? What is it?
Dante.
Dante, now don't fool yourself. Mother don't want no pussy. Praise the Lord. Don't fool yourself. Now, every trans experience, I'm not trying to. No,
That's
no,
what I'm saying.
no.
It's not the everyone's just not the same. We
And if
can't.
I brought my man on here, he would say, I appreciate her as she is. Praise the Lord.
Uh-huh.
Huh?
Uh-huh.
Got some trade around the
So,
way to
so,
tell
so
you
to be
that.
clear,
But
to be clear.
it's not all met. It's not reassignment. But I want to say this.
Mhm.
Honestly, I think that furthermore, I think that there's something deeper. I'm going to say this. Y'all may not like me. It's
Mhm.
okay. I like myself. I think that it's something deeper than just saying that, my child, and that's not an attack. I'm just saying
That's your perspective.
that's my perspective. Um, One thing that I've always,
No,
um,
finish your thought. You said it was something deeper. What was you about to say? I'm
oh, I
intrigued.
don't want to go that. I mean, I don't want to go that direct. That's a,
Okay,
you
okay, got
FaceTime me after, then I can read you like I want to. Like mother got some decorum,
you.
you
Okay,
know.
I got you.
But um, that's just like if you put human on, which you brought the human piece into it. I could ask you right now, when did you identify that you were gay?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Most likely, you're gonna tell me
We were young.
somewhere when you were young.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fair point.
Yes, since the beginning for me.
If you say son, so I'm gonna stand and agree with you. When your son comes to you, or if you when you have a son, should your son come to you and feel differently at a young age, I think that the same grace that you would have wanted afforded to you, this is talking about humans,
Mm-hmm.
just because their experience may be differently than yours,
Uh-huh.
I think to lock the door on them and say, because this is why I say it's different. This is why I say it's layers to that. Because kind of what I get from you is saying, I was raised by a bloomer, who, you know, maybe they put a stipulation on you to say, you could go but this far, but this if you go further than this, I'm gonna disown you. And so that was repetitive. So now you have to say to your child, yeah, being gay, that's as far as you can go. But if you
Mm-hmm.
in my house, I gotta,
Mm,
because it was
mm,
given to you that way.
mm.
That's just my opinion.
No, I think
And
that's a good point.
I
incorrect.
have to agree. I had that same
But I
conversation with my
feel
parents.
like because if you are a human, and especially if you talk about one thing that my mama helped me with, because I grew up in a it, in a holiness house, no makeup, all that
Oh
junk,
yeah, you
no
real
jewelry.
holy.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't do extra. Women
The
look
long
like they came
skirts.
out of the color purple. But when I told my mother I was going to transition close to 10 years ago, she told me something. She said, well, Tia, if you feel like that's your journey, she always told me, she said, I got 9 months on anybody that you will ever know in your life.
Mm,
Mm.
And she said to me, Tia, if you want to transition, the only thing that I commission you is that you be the best woman that you can be because you come from a line of strong Black women.
that's good.
With that affirmation, that made it different. That made me, when I would date a man, that would make me think differently. Because I'm saying that if my mama set the bar for me, I'm not going to allow you to treat me any kind of way that the woman I came out of would be less than. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that if anything, I have an old choir member who she's going through that right now. She got called 2 weeks ago to the school because the boy had flipped out on his teachers for misgendering him.
What?
And he's maybe little D Junior is maybe 10,
And
12.
he transitioning already?
Well, he's not transitioning, but he's in a pivotal point where he's kind of figuring out like, I like women stuff, but I appreciate this, but I don't want to be this. And
I got you,
I
got
don't
you,
know
got
what
you.
He's at a
And
pivotal
they, and
point.
they and the other people putting that on him, and he's not even sure what it is, I guess.
Yeah, he doesn't know.
Mm-hmm.
But some days he want to be called a girl, some days he want to be a boy. He just doesn't know right now. But as I
Mm-hmm.
told her, I said, number one, love him. And number two, keep his studies at the forefront. We can talk about this when you get into if you know you like a boy, or if you feel
Mm-hmm.
more comfortable in girls' clothes, or if you want to do, we can talk about that when you get a
But
little
Tia,
older. But
what
right
age
now,
do
you
you
need to be
think it?
studying and bring home A's and B's.
Tia, what age do you think is appropriate? Then do you think 10 is too young?
I think to start transitioning,
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't see it any different than when you find out that you're gay.
Mm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Okay.
It's a feeling
So
because
let
it's
me
not
ask you
like
this
who would
though.
Because
wake
you
up and
know,
I don't
But
know.
let me ask you this
you
though. Let me
know.
ask you. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. What about the surgery part? Would you tell them wait for the surgery part, just dress up as the opposite sex, or how would you deal with the surgery part?
Well, I think that we're putting a lot of balloon stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Fair.
Just because you're trans, that doesn't mean that you necessarily want
that's
your
true.
body
I
to
get
be
I
that.
said
generated the
thank
opposite
you,
I
Tia.
sex.
totally agree with that. I'm asking you though, how you feel about the surgery. This is a direct question to you though. How you feel about the
Um,
surgery part?
I think when you get into that, um, I think that you should be at least 18.
Okay, that's yeah, yeah.
And the
Okay,
reason why I say that is because, um, no, I take that back. I would say 16 to 18. And the reason why is because
Does that depends on the state, or is that all?
yeah, yeah. Sometimes depend on the state, but why you say it though, Tia?
I say that because in give y'all a little trans information.
Okay.
The best time to transition medically
Mm-hmm.
is as soon as you hit puberty.
Yep.
Okay, I did hear
I
that.
agree.
I heard that.
That's the
Yes,
best
because
time
the
to
transition,
transition
the biological transition. I mean, the chemistry and everything in the body is a perfect transition in time because of development.
because of development. So
Yes,
that's the best. That's a ripe time
but,
to
but you
start.
can't bring those type of arguments because they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that.
Yeah, I'm,
They
I'm
don't-
just saying. Y'all asked me. Don't be sitting up
No,
here looking
no,
like y'all
No,
don't want me
I
to whoop y'all
agree.
ass.
I
I'm
don't.
not
no,
gonna lie,
no.
that was too much for me. I'm not gonna lie. It was too. Thank you though. Thank you for
But no,
saying
I'm
that
just
and
answering.
educating me because that was a lot for me. But thank
I
you.
mean,
I
it may be a
appreciate it.
lot, but I was just answering the question.
Yeah, yeah, no,
When
that's
you
good.
say when would
Yeah.
be the best, that would be medically the best time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now I think that when you talk about reassignment, I do believe that that is something that should be given a lot of thought to, because number one, it's not reversible.
Mm,
Yes,
because just because of that, it's a lot. Just because of that,
Yeah,
it should be
but
done. Yeah.
and so I think that is something that once you get on your own, you know what I'm saying. Now, if my child was in my house, well, first of all, they wouldn't be able legally to do the surgery without me okaying it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the furthest I would go with my child in my house, if my child were to be trans, I would let them um, I would let them medically transition at puberty.
For
But
real?
baby, let me tell you, honey, reason why I do that, because honey, if they last 6 months, you really want to do this. Because honey, these meds ain't no joke. I know it's glamorous when the lights, camera, action is on.
mm,
But honey, it has some high highs and some low lows.
So,
And a
so
lot
you
of the
you would
kids, they think it's about this, and they think it's
deal with
about
them based
these.
upon their maturity. If your child,
Baby, when that estrogen kick you in your ass, and them T blockers start blocking that testosterone, and honey, depression and all
mm,
the loopiness, and one moment you don't want to be bothered or touched, and the next moment you woe is me. It just sends you on a lot, and a lot of people cannot take that.
but
And then some people be like, child, I'll be a drag queen, but child, that trans, that's too much for me.
but
Y'all
then
can't have that. So it ain't
Tia,
made for
you just brought
everybody.
up
You got to be strong.
Tia, you just brought up a
mm,
valid point. Don't
mm.
that go into when you say that all of medicine make you feel depressed? Why would you want to
Ooh.
put yourself through that then? Like that's not like good, right?
Um, Hell.
when you think of it any other way, there's some people, if any of y'all went to college, there's sometimes you got to cram. There's sometimes you may have to make studies up. You may have to, with anything, there's going to be struggle. That's
Mm-hmm.
anything. Take the
Okay.
trends
I
out of it
agree.
and look at it through life. Through anything you want to be or want to do, it's
Mm-hmm.
going to
A
come with
struggle.
strugh.
Okay,
It's
Yeah,
going to come with
I can see
down
I
it better
days.
agree.
that way. I can see
Marriage
it
is
better.
going to come with good times and
Yeah.
bad times, a time where you can't stand it. So if you take the gender thing out of it and just look at humans struggle, it's just your struggle may be a little different than mine, but we both struggling in some
Mhm.
areas
In some
of
areas.
something that we want to do or something that we want to be, because we're both. You don't struggle can happen to any four of us.
Most definitely, and it is.
Yeah,
That's not a
I agree.
gay, straight, or bi or trans thing.
It's
That's
human.
human. Being
Yeah,
a human, you're gonna struggle. Being a
yeah,
human, you're gonna be depressed. Being a human, you're not gonna want to deal with people. Being a human, you're gonna want friends. That's a human thing.
yeah.
I agree.
I
I
agree too.
I see it better you saying it that way. I was just simply saying when you name all the side effects, it just go into like the argument
Yeah,
what they say that okay, boom, boom, boom. But I understand better by you giving that analysis.
It definitely
yeah.
adds to the argument. I
And
do.
just like in
Yeah.
transitions, y'all wasn't born doctors. For those of you who are doctors or whatever you want to be in life, you know, but you transition. You transitioned out of your mama here. You transitioned from kindergarten to high school. To middle school,
You did a
to
thing.
college.
So
You
Hmm.
Dante, let me
transition
ask
to
you this
middle
though.
age. You're going to transition to be a, a senior citizen. Then you're going to do a final transition when they carry you up out of here. So it's about it's in transition happens in life. It just so
Mm.
happens I decided to transition
What?
more in my gender.
So
Oh, you
Dante,
said
do you
that, Tia.
understand
That was
better?
good.
Do you
That
We're
was
all
understand
good.
the
in
trans?
transition.
Do you understand the trans thing better, Dante?
I still have a lot more questions.
And that's fine.
Tia just
I mean,
opened up
and
a
no,
lot
no,
of
no, no,
questions
no.
for
I just
me.
hope that I said
I mean,
something.
that's I'm saying that in a very positive way. You just opened up a lot of more questions that I have.
Yeah, you made me understand some things better, too, as well. So yeah, yeah, cause like you said, give that same grace you needed when you identify when you were gay. So I definitely related to that and understand
And
that
it is
too.
complicated.
Because that's your child. And I'm gonna say this and I'm done with it. The love you don't give him, he gonna look for it in
Go
somebody
somewhere else.
toxic.
Hmm.
Mm,
You better watch your words. He gonna look for it in somebody who don't have his best interest at heart. You set the bar for
that's
anybody
good.
he deal with
Yeah.
in his life. You set the bar.
Hmm. I had that the same conversation with my parents about the same thing. They believed in like not being gay and you can't be gay and being too feminine, or even my mom used to be like, because I'm gay, you want to be a woman now? And I'm like, that's not my experience. Like,
That's what they
but I
go
had
through.
to have
Yeah.
that conversation with my mom about the same thing. Like, you don't understand. Like, you think you doing your best, and I get it. I praise you for doing your best with what you believe you made the best decision for
Yeah.
me. But
Mm,
when you talk about literally stopping my human experience that I like don't even have the fathom to know, like I just know I like boys and I'm acting as a child, and you're telling me I can't be this and I bet not be that, and I'm like, I don't even know what these things mean. I'm just expressing myself.
myself, yeah.
I'm trying to be, and then you tell me I can't be your child. Like I gotta go away. That is detrimental. Fuck a gun, fuck a drag show, fuck a none of that shit. Like that's the detriment to a human experience when you don't feel, especially from your parents.
Yeah.
You out here trying to figure out life, and your parents are like, nope, you can't do that. I'm like,
And
well, I'm
baby,
trying to live
them
my best
roosters are
life,
gonna come home to crow.
Yeah. Okay, Michael Mix.
They gonna
right?
come home.
Yeah.
Especially in the
Um,
black community. But yeah,
any final thoughts, Dante, what on this topic before we get out of here?
No, thank y'all. To
No, I
my
have no
black
final
people,
topic.
thank y'all.
No
Nothing to
final
add to
thoughts.
it. Nope.
Tia, final thoughts on this before we get out?
What you smoking?
Um, I am
the hookah.
smoking a Elf bar, and it is a mango peach, and it's the best thing since sliced bread. Um,
Final
um,
thoughts on
I just
anything.
say my final thoughts is that I just want to promote love. We only come this way once.
Mhm.
Mm,
And I think that if people look through the lens of love, we will create a different world. Um, and despite um, and for us as black people, I'll say this and I'm done. Us as black people, you would think we would be the most compassionate,
Yes.
understanding force to be reckoned with on
Yeah.
the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just choose to promote love.
Okay.
Boom.
Richard, final thoughts on any topic or anything you want to say?
I agree with Thea completely. I think everything all my arguments come from that place of like we can't. I challenge us all to think about making blatant statements because, like Tia has so eloquently said, like we are living a human experience. And if we are limiting people's human experience by laws and policies and institutions and cultural norms, then we got to challenge that. If you
Mm-hmm.
would like, if you don't want to your any part of your existence of who you are to be challenged, we do not have the right to challenge someone else's lived experience through laws and policy and privilege that we have access to, like
Yeah.
polished political offices or appointments to working in banks or working in housing or whatever institution with our privilege, we should grant to our very best grant access, and that's all I ask us to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to give us some comments here before we get out of here, Dante. And I'm going to find them.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Tia, for coming on. We really appreciate it. Richard, it's good to see you back on here. Haven't seen you in like 5 months.
You two, we haven't even recorded together.
Yeah, we
Actually,
haven't, but we saw each other out in Bulldog, so there we go.
we
Yeah.
probably see each other at Bulldogs again soon.
Are you
Okay,
going tonight?
once again, guys,
And
remember.
hopefully that Greg, this ain't my last time.
No, this not. Don't tell. I think you honestly helped me understand some things better. And like I said, what stood out to me, what you said, give the same grace that you needed or you wanted. So I think at the end of the day, it went by you saying that gender, all that bump to the side. Like it's about compassion and giving that grace and whatever, because you just never know how it's gonna end in it, how it's gonna all
Mm-hmm.
turn out. So
And as the word tells us, love never fails.
yeah.
Never.
So I think
Never fails.
what can you say after that? You can't really say, you can't really have an argument after that because you never know that person's journey. And like I said, overall, people for the replay crew, for y'all put the comments down there. It's everybody's
Yeah.
perspective. Everybody think different. Everybody feels
Yeah.
different.
Oh, they
So
must be going off of these comments, huh?
well, last week they had a lot to say about you because
I'm happy they have a
Did
lot to
we
say
get any
about me.
comments? Why we
This is
get?
my face of
yeah,
giving a
I
fuck.
see the comments. It's over here. Y'all don't see it. It's over here.
Oh,
I
I'm
haven't
on
even
my
been
phone
looking.
version, so I might be
I
looking.
don't care.
Oh.
I live my life.
He
I don't
said,
worry
I
about
don't
what
care.
people say about me. I don't need
Yeah,
nobody to
and we got
affirm what I have to say or
we
any
got some
likes.
replay game. They was saying a lot of stuff about, cause it got real heated last week. It was real. It wasn't none like this. It was tough.
Hopefully, it
Well, we
wasn't
lucky
too
we didn't have to
emotional.
debate.
You said what?
Hopefully, it wasn't too emotional for some people.
Well, it got really emotional when Misha left because it was like, yeah, it was a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, Misha's
And
probably
then
the only one I care about.
Dante ended up calling our special guest out his name too.
I didn't call him a name.
You call him out his name. You call him something he didn't want to be called, and you
What
didn't
did you
care.
say?
What you call him something, and he tried to get you the
Honestly, I
acknowledgement.
can't even. I don't even know what I called
Yeah,
him.
you
To
were
be
much
honest with
heated
you.
last time,
But
but
I
I
was
think
not.
overall it was a great show. I think, like I said, it's everybody. We have different perspective. That's why I
Yes,
want
we
to
do.
continue to have conversation like this, because this is how we move forward. Everybody is not going to see it the way I see it, and
Mhm.
everybody's not going to see it the way you guys see it. So like, just keep that in mind before you write hateful stuff. And on that note, guys, thank you, panel. Tia, Dante, Richard.
Thank you.
Until next Thursday, guys, we will see you then with some more controversial topics. Peace
Bye,
out.
everybody.
Bye,
See ya.
y'all.
Oh, that was good.